Okay, let's go ahead and start again. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us with our live stream podcast. We have a special guest with us, Charity Nichols, who will get here shortly. Right now, we are going to discuss a case.
Situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
so
arrived today.
Renee will go with her story.
Okay, so hello everyone. Glad that you're able to be with us again. So, what happened was I did a policy review for a community service. It's a Muslim community service organization. And this was my second time revisiting this with them. So it was the two people that's from the Muslim Community Service was on the Google Meet, and I was going through a little bit of the policy review. And then he just happened to say, he says, I remember this. I remember when you was telling us about it. And he said, yeah, when you came to Maryland and you was doing, and I said, come in, I remembered you. So as the story is going on, and I'm just steady, okay, well, let me get through this part, and then we'll talk about your declaration pages. So I got through that. So now comes the real good fun. So Camille's asking me about the declaration, and I had already visited the community center, me and my husband, and I'm looking. I said we reviewed this policy before I actually went through it with them, and I noticed that it was like a general policy, commercial policy, and a lot of things was missing out of it. So he's saying that the story is when they had the other policy, they assumed that they were covered under the old policy. So that's why we went down there so I could see exactly what type of damage was there and all that, took pictures and everything. So come find out as we're talking when I was there, he was saying, one of the guys was saying that, oh no, this happened after we had a lapse in coverage. And I'm saying, really? So I said, are you sure? What was your date of loss? Because the date of loss is what's going to trigger everything. And so they're talking and discussing. But mind you, Camille was not at the meeting when I went to Maryland to go to the community center. So he was not aware of all this stuff going back and forth. So when he talked to me today, he's saying, I think there's some discrepancy because I really believe that we had coverage at the time of the damage. And he has roof damage and he has water damage in the basement. So I say, I asked him, I said, well, do you think you have mold down there? He said, yes, I can smell it. And I said, well, you need to get that mitigated before you do anything. Get that cleaned out. And
Yes.
one of the things that I forgot to ask them if they got the roof fixed. And that was like, oh man, I forgot to ask them. The biggest question that I could think of is, did you get the roof fixed? So I missed that boat. But anyhow, they know that we had discussed getting the roof fixed. They needed new windows. It was just some damages in the bathroom, damages on the floor, the carpet, all that's got to get pulled up. It's a beautiful building, but they have a lot of cosmetic stuff in there that they need to get cleaned up. So they were going to do it, the guys, because there's a lot of men that belong to the community center. So they was going to utilize their skills from what I understand. But in the meantime, Camille is saying to me that, well, I want to pay you. And I'm like, I don't need to get paid. This is a service that's available for free. This is what we do. We discuss the situation with you, which we've done. I said, I let you know what information is needed, but the issue is your policy. You have to find out from your agent whether or not the information that's in here in your policy, current policy, effective policy, is what y'all need for your building. So I'm like, unless you can figure that out, I said, I can't do anything for you because I don't know what your needs are. And I don't know what has been discussed between you and the agent or whoever they went with when they were going through this. And I just see so many issues with it. And just like my husband, who's a broker, said, they look like they just threw the book at them, just threw anything they could and put it together and just gave it to them, and they accepted it. And I said, I don't even see a deductible. I don't know how much your deductible is. And then one of the things he was asking me, what about the lease agreement that we have with the city? And then I said, well, that's a good question, because there is an issue. If you're not in compliance with what the city has stated to you in that lease, and you're not following their procedures and protocol, you're going to have some issues. And they may, deny your lease. I don't know, but this is something that needs to be revisited. And he said, I don't want to give the lease to the insurance company. I didn't say you had to give the lease to them. I just said that you need to make sure that the information that you have in that lease agreement with the city is in compliance with what the policy states, because there's some verbiage in there, language in there that requires you to do A, B, C, and D. And if you're not doing A, B, C, and D, you're not in compliance. He says, yes, you're right, you're right, you're right. So I'm just gonna he wants to talk to us. He wants us to come back to the community center again. But this time I said, if we come back, I want to talk to the board, because
Yeah.
y'all need to get some things straight. And we're not the ones. I'm not going to sit there and tell you what to do. That's not my job. I said I can make suggestions of what could be possible for you to complete, but I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. That's up to y'all, because you've been doing this longer than I've been involved. And you know
Were,
what is wrong with the building.
were they able to give you a solid date of loss?
Yeah, it was he said it was in February, okay? Now the new lease, I mean the new policy that he got, it says February the 15th, 2022 to no 2023 to February 15th. That's the renewal period. So what happened in January to that point where he got the new policy? That's what he's trying to find out, because he swears down that they had coverage. So I'm saying, okay, well, that's an investigation that you need to work on, and then get
Mm-hmm.
back to me, because I have no
Yeah.
idea. And I told him, I
Okay.
said, even if it was a 30-day period of missing, not missing, a lapse in the insurances, if you were covered during that time frame when you had the damages, then it is the insurance company is liable to pay. But we don't know. That's the part that's the missing link
Is there a reason why they didn't report this claim?
to the
What did?
insurance company.
Yeah.
I think they did, but something happened between the insurance company time frame. Oh, I know what it was. When they had insurance, okay, this is like their third insurance company. They had insurance, and then I guess the year went up, and then they thought they had got another policy through, I think it was Allstate, I think. Allstate looked at I guess the what they had from the previous policy, and they had it going for 30 days. Then they canceled them. In the midst
Hmm.
of that time frame, I don't know the reason why they canceled them, but something happened, and they just said they couldn't um, renew them. And that's where the lap gap is missing. That's the missing piece. But I was trying to ask them when I was there, so when this roof issue occurred, were you covered? That's the missing link. We trying to figure out. I'm like, if you telling me one thing, somebody else tell me another thing. I need to know, what was your date of loss. When did y'all notice that the roof was leaking and you had an issue? Because you can look up top, like on top, and you can see light coming through. So we know there's some water coming through there. If it's a bad storm, it's a lot of water. But the water is coming. He says it's coming all the way down to the basement. This building is large, so for that water to come all the way down to the basement, there's some missing pieces.
Yeah. But did they say they were going to talk to their agent?
Yes, I told them that was my recommendation, to talk to
Yeah.
the agent, because what they did, my husband said they sent a summary report. That's all it was. they did not actually send the policy. So she went in there, if they have she had access to go in there. So she got a copy of the whole policy. It's like 78 pages.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so I said, okay, that's it. And then I know you wasn't expecting me to go through all of this because and that's when he was saying, he said, well, we want to pay you. I said, no. I said, this is a service that we provide for free. I don't need to get paid for this. And I said, I'm willing to work with y'all because I know you are having difficulty with understanding what is going on. And then the fact that the insurance company just got over on them like a fat rat. We still don't know what the deductible is. And then
yeah,
they got that aggregated something for up to $2 million. Then they got something for $1 million, and that's all they put in there. And I'm like, and this is it. And I said, so what else you got? You got water damage coverage? Do you? I'm like, I'm just going through it. Like, what about other structure? You know? And I said, there's language in that lease that states that you have to fix certain amount of work in that building. You know? And I'm like, so yeah, that's where we are with that. Unfortunately.
okay, yeah. I mean, I had to say, but Renee, you might be the one who has to look through the 78 pages. But there's probably just one or two pages that you have to look for. You know, like the coverage amounts, the limits for the coverage amounts,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then the deductible. Since they're leasing it, uh,
They got a nice setup. All I can say, if I can pay $1 a month for a building, it will be immaculate.
yeah, and then you also have to check their lease terms to see, okay, what needs to be fixed.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Well, I
and
have
kind of
that.
like
I have
match
a
it
copy of the
with
lease. I do
the
have a
okay.
copy of the lease, so I know what they are requiring, and they're not in compliance. So I
Oh,
know
they're
that.
not.
No, because when we went there, we went through some of the language in the lease agreement, and a couple of them said that yeah, we know we supposed to fix this, we supposed to fix that, but the roof is a major asset in that building, so I think the city was stating that they would either pay for it. I think they are going to pay for it, but I don't know because they got too many hands in the pot. You know what I'm saying? When you got so many people overseeing this and that, and then you got one person that's controlling everything, it's very hard to get information from that person. Someone else telling you something else, and this person pulling. I'm like, oh God. And I said, that's why
Yeah,
y'all need to have a meeting.
yeah. It gets confusing when the building is owned by someone else. Like you
Mhm.
really have to look at that lease to see where the responsibility falls onto the
Right.
the business. And so,
I'm calling
and
Chuck.
usually for businesses, okay. Usually
She
for
called. She
businesses,
talking.
the
Mhm.
deductible is pretty high.
Oh. Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
so
it
they're gonna have
probably
to.
is. Well, they can afford it because they're not paying no real mortgage or anything.
I
They're only
know.
paying $1
Hope,
rent. Shit. I
hopefully
think
they
I can
save
afford.
money.
Shit, that's
Yeah.
good news.
Well,
Oh, hey Chuck,
hopefully.
Okay.
come on in. Come on in. Join us.
Oh boy,
We're
I just
waiting
got
for
back.
your niece,
Yeah, I just
Charity.
saw her car. I just saw her car go down the street, so I think
Okay.
she's looking for a parking space.
Okay. All right. Come on in.
Okay,
All right.
all
Bye.
right, all right. Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah. So yeah, she's
Yeah.
just pulling up. So
Okay.
it's just very extraordinary their situation. It's a unique situation because I've never heard anything like this, let alone got involved in such mess. It's a mess, and they
Yeah.
know it. They know it.
First of all, I want to say, hopefully they're. I mean, I'm pretty sure their damages are over. Let's say if their deductible is 10,000, more than likely their damages are over 10,000, especially if it's
Hmm.
the roof
Hmm.
plus whatever is on the interior. If the water
Yep.
traveled
And
down the
underneath
wall.
the rafters is damaged, so that's
Yeah,
all. That whole roof got to get redone.
yeah, and then if it reached all the way to the ceiling, that's like three layers of
Yep.
three
And then the
levels.
way it is, it's like that. I think it's a shape of a dome, and then it
Mm,
goes around, and then you got. I mean, the porch is large. They got a
mm.
beautiful large porch, And I'm like, this is a beautiful facility. And if you can, beautify it to make it as it was before, that's going to be a beautiful place. Once it gets done, if they get the right people in there to take care of it and do what they need to do, that is going to be a gorgeous community center.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that the family of the previous owner did not want it,
They
or
didn't
why.
care. They were young. They didn't care about no
Oh,
building. They were young, and the father, when he passed, before he passed, he had offered to for them, and they didn't want it. So that's how the
yeah.
city got it. And it is a
Or they,
beautiful building. It's on 100 acres.
oh no, what?
Yes, it's on a
I
hundred
can't
acres.
believe these people just passed up. I mean,
Yep,
this property now is probably worth several $1 million.
yep. Sure
Um,
enough, sure
and
enough. Yep.
and they didn't even bother to contact a realtor. Just say, you're the professional,
Well,
you do the work.
I think because of the way it was done, I'm not sure the process of what happened back then, but when the city was taking over some of those properties, and they were selling a lot of those properties in the city for $1, but they
Oh
were
wow.
in bad condition. So they
Even if
wanted
it's
you to
bad
renovate. But
condition.
I'm like, it would be worth it. And then also the area it was too. You have to
Mm-hmm.
think of if it's in a real bad area, very poor area, or very demolished like looking area. A lot of people didn't want to rebuild right there. But now, shoot, offer me a dollar house.
I know, right? You
I buy it. Can I buy the whole block?
Yeah, I mean, even if it's in a bad neighborhood, I think that if you fix it up,
Yeah.
um, you can transform the neighborhood.
Oh
But
yeah,
what
that's
do
what
I
they're
know,
doing,
right?
revitalization. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing that. So now they're doing a lot of that in Baltimore, and it looks
Mm-hmm.
very nice. The areas where they are doing it, and I think that's one of the areas that they are improving because it's down from it's a school called Walbrook, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where the property is down from there. So that school is well known in Baltimore, and even though it may be it's like North Avenue, that was rough territory at one time, but I could see that place could be very, very beautiful once they decide to do something and do it the right way. Don't get no tacky, crappy contractor to come in there and piecemeal stuff. No, get it done right. Give me some
Yeah.
plans, let me see it. And I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Yep, that looks good. That's exactly the way I want it. So they just need some real good hands on deck to get the job done. And even with the grant, the city of Baltimore is giving away money right now. So I asked them, I said, did y'all go and apply for a grant? You don't want to hear that story. And I'm like, so everything, everything that I know, what I did when I was in Baltimore and I owned property, I was trying to get them to see if they could qualify for it. And I said, if you have a lease through the city and they're agreeing to help with making the improvement, then what in the world are y'all waiting for? You're going to wait
Yeah.
until the property gets worse and worse and worse, and then nobody's going to want to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The longer you wait, the
Yep,
more.
and being in compliance. Yep, that's exactly
Yeah.
correct. Yep,
So I don't know. Some people, and the thing is, like when you have a board, they I'm sure they have rules where
right. They
everyone
have
has to,
bylaws.
yeah, everyone has to agree, but it's
Hmm.
like, hello, we don't if we don't do anything, the um the center's gonna fall apart even more, and the
Right.
longer you wait, the worse it gets. And
Yep.
so I don't know, but
But believe it or not, they have meetings in there, and if you got mold in your basement and you can smell it, you need to be out of that building because there's no
yeah.
way in the world you should be working with a mold infested basement. It's just going
Hmm.
to come up. It's going to get worse and worse and worse until someone does something about it.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be exposing people to the mold
Thank you.
because
That's
it's
what
an
I said.
allergen. It's an allergen that can get in your lungs and get you sick.
Right.
Um,
Correct. Cause yeah, cause I went to a property and they had mold in the basement and I got sick. Me and my both of us got sick. when we got home, and I said, I'll never do that again. If I
Yeah.
know it's mold, I'm like walking right back out that door.
And another thing is, if they don't take care of this mold, their claim could be denied. Uh, they may
Right.
not have mold coverage either. So,
Well, they don't. I don't think they do. I really don't. They had fungi. It said fungi and something is what was it? Fungi and asbestos. I think I can't remember what the
asbestos.
verbiage
Uh huh.
was. I can't remember what it said.
Did it say it was covered?
No, I think it said exclusive. Excluded.
Okay.
I think I just can't remember because it
Yeah,
really
just go back
wasn't.
and look at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
Um,
at that. Yeah.
I mean, if it's not covered, they're just out of pocket to,
Right, but then they got
mitigate.
backup because they got the city of Baltimore. As long as they stay in compliance, the city of Baltimore will help them financially with that property. And that's what I'm saying. Like, why did y'all wait? Why didn't y'all do something? Because they had one person whose assignment was to oversee certain piece of that property or all of the property, and he didn't do a good job. He couldn't have because he missed a lot of missing links that's missing, and I keep asking him certain things, and the guy, that's a good question, but I don't know the answer. Let me find out, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
So
it seems
yeah,
like these are just all volunteers who really don't care.
that's what I don't know. I don't know if anybody is getting paid. That's a
Yeah,
good question.
most of the time,
Yeah,
these are organizations who just
right,
have volunteers.
right,
Um, who knows how much money they're bringing in,
right.
and if they're actually paying someone with that money. Even if they pay someone, it's a minimal amount.
I think someone's trying to get
So,
in. Do you hear?
no, no one's coming in yet.
Oh, I hear. I thought I heard somebody. Okay.
No, no one's
Yeah, she
coming
said
in
she
yet.
was coming in. Wait a minute.
Not yet. Usually, I'll see it live.
Oh, she said she's
So,
about to get on. Okay, that's what she said. Okay.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this is interesting. Wow. Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
that was my
I know.
journey today.
I know I was getting somewhere else too. I forgot my points. I should have written it down. I think I was talking about the mold. If
Right.
they're, yeah, um, but they need to really talk to their agent to see what
Mm-hmm.
is covered. Like, that's just the thing is, a lot of people, policyholders, um, they think that you know they ask the agent to find them a policy. They don't want to really talk to the agent because they're afraid that the agent's going to give them a high premium quote, and so they just say go with the cheapest, and that's that. And they don't think about coverages. They just think, okay, as long as I have a policy, I'm covered, and that's like the worst thing you could ever do. I mean, obviously, none of these people on their board even bothered to read what's on their policy. Most likely,
Nope.
they have like a stripped down policy that's like
Mhm.
minimum requirements, and
Yep. But then they're
yeah.
not compliant with the city of Baltimore because you have to
Hi, Chuck.
require. Hey,
Hi,
Chuck.
hey, how every day? All right,
Hey.
Charity should be on in just a second.
Okay.
Okay,
She just walked in
Okay.
the house.
no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about this property in Baltimore and
Uh-huh.
the fact that this was my second go around with trying to educate them on what they have in the policy, but then come find out it was like a summary page and it didn't give enough detail. Even Kay was like over looking at it and I'm like, oh God, this doesn't look right. And I'm just not the expert with commercial property, but
Right.
I know common sense is like, are you covered for this, or this? Because I don't see it in there. Let alone I didn't even see a deductible.
Is that the
Yeah,
is that the Muslim property?
Yep, yep.
Well,
So I just like, they want our help and they're like, I'll pay you. And I'm like, it's not about getting paid. It's about fixing what you have wrong. And I got to make sure that you are in compliance, or you got to make sure that you're in compliance. with the
Right.
city of Baltimore, since you're not doing a lot right now, which I thought they said they were going to do. And
Uh-huh.
that's when I'm coming back and you're revisiting the same issue. I'm like, what did y'all do? What didn't y'all do? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
The guy said he smelled mold.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
you know.
I think one area of concern is all those endorsements they got. I would imagine those are endorsements to take away coverage. We don't know what they are because they're coded, uh, and we won't know what they are until the agent actually gives them the full policy. And
And then wait a
so,
minute, 2K. You remember we saw the one with Tara? Was it Tara?
oh, the terrorists.
They excluded it. And what he was saying when he looked at it, he says, I don't understand why they excluded that, because someone could throw a bomb at our community center because we are Muslim, because of our religion, our
Right.
race,
Exactly.
and all that. So he's like kind of upset the fact that why would they exclude that from the policy? I said that's a good question.
Well, they were probably excluded to save them money. It's a coverage they took away, so they would have to. I mean, I don't know because I reading from all the policies I've read in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the terrorist acts of terrorism is excluded, and
Yeah, because
so
that's what I was telling him. I said, you may not be the only one that had that in your policy exclusion, because I've seen a lot of policies in Maryland that they are excluding a lot of stuff. And then I shared with them, I said, there is some things going on with the insurance industry right now. A lot
mhm.
of a lot of the insurance companies are pulling out from certain areas in the state, and or they're not renewing the policy, they're not getting anyone new, and so that's where you're going to have a little bit of issue. And the concern is whether or not they may drop you.
Yeah, I mean that's what we discussed. Was it last week? Just
Yeah,
last
I think
week?
it was last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So anticipate issues with your insurance company.
Yeah.
Um, I think the whole terrorism thing is standard now,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you have the option to add it. Even if see, the thing is, I think that might be like national. The terrorism thing is a national thing. So let's say, like 9/11 were to happen again,
Right.
then supposedly that's not taken care of. But um, I think if if someone just comes in to vandalize your home, or your your place of business,
Hmm.
that's still that still is covered. It's not that they're taking away the vandalism part because I believe vandalism is a covered loss.
Okay.
So the terrorism thing is more like more like a governmental federal thing.
Hmm.
Um, Although, like I've read about the buildings, the twin towers. I mean, I don't know. This is more conspiracy theory thing. Was um, they whoever the owners are of the buildings, they took out a large policy before it happened, before 9/11 happened.
Oh,
And
really?
this is a terrorist, like a terrorist act. And so I'm thinking that they got them paid. They got paid
Wow.
for the damages
I'm wondering,
from
were they?
9/11.
So who was it? Was it a foreigner who took out a large policy for?
No, no, no. It was
Oh,
the owner. It was the owner's owner with an S, I guess, who took out a large policy. It's as though they knew something was going to happen.
that's what
So,
I'm
like,
saying. That's suspicious.
yeah, to me, well, the fact there's just weird things that happened
Doing
in
that.
that event that
Oh,
was just
okay.
really suspicious. Like, if Chuck, like your niece, she would know. Like, they were saying, you know, they gathered like 2,000 architects and contractors who
Uh,
actually looked at the videos of the buildings falling, and they
right.
were saying that that looked like a controlled demolition.
Well, that's the whole thing. Okay, I may have told y'all that I'm a former news reporter,
Right.
Uh huh.
Right.
and so when it went down, I immediately started looking at things, and
So you were suspicious already.
oh yeah, I was, I really was. I said,
Mm-hmm.
now wait a minute, you got two planes. These people got around, all of this so-called security,
Mm-hmm.
and were able to hijack, three planes,
Mm-hmm.
two for the same target, and you
Yep.
tell me that they could not figure
Blow them
this
up.
right.
That was
So
my that was one of the main questions I had was I thought that if they came within a certain period or part of the state that they would just blow the plane up. I had no
right.
idea they would just allow them to go right on in there. Yeah, go ahead, boom, yeah, go right on in there. I'm allow you to do it. So that was just so I don't know. It just seems suspicious to me.
Yeah, and then I saw videos of people who were like either near the building or in the building, and they said that they heard a succession of bombs going off,
Going
and
off.
from one level to the other, all the way down to the bottom. And
Well, that
so,
probably was the impact of the plane hitting that building, and I think
no,
that's
no, no.
No,
huh?
no, it was after. It was after fact. There's a documentary, okay, that I don't even know if you can get a hold of it now. It's called Beyond 911, and it had the last recordings of two of New York City's best people who would handle a situation like that. One of the guys, okay, said, "Hey, I am below the impact. I have a plan to get control of this." And then he said, wait a minute. I hear explosions below me. And after that, you didn't hear anything from him anymore. Then
Wow.
they went to the other tower. The guy that was like his assistant was in that tower, and he was reporting back almost the same thing, word for word. And right when he said, I think we can, we can work with this. And then he said, I hear something going on some floors below me. And so it was, oh, good grief, my dog is, he usually pretty good about this. Come on, all right. So
He want
he wants,
love. He wants some love.
yeah, he wasn't getting the picture. He over here smiling at me too. So, no, 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 please, please, Draco, Drake, 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 please, please. Now he wants to lick my arms.
I told you want some love. You hear
Yes. All right. Okay, okay. So, also the they interviewed the security guard who said that days before, when they would normally have like a security sweep
Mm-hmm.
where they bring dogs and stuff in there. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
security Draco, the security company didn't bring the dogs, but instead he said these guys look like technicians. They had trench coats on. They walked in with these big cases.
Wow.
Okay, and
That's just super suspicious.
and
But
so
and then, well, my thing is, what happened to those guys?
Well, you never hear from them again.
you never
Thank
hear.
So I'm like, if this didn't happen the way it was supposed to, where they said you usually have dogs coming in with security,
Mm-hmm.
now you don't have dogs, and then you had a plane going into the building. Between that time that they usually have dogs coming in there and the time the plane hit the building, that's the information that you need to know what happened. And
Well,
because I know they had cameras in the building, I know they did.
oh yeah, yeah,
So they wouldn't have known what company, and they had the name of the company that would have came in with the dog. So
right.
what happened? We ain't hear nothing about that.
Well, the security guard said the guys that came in did not look like the regular guys that were that were coming in.
Okay, my point
Okay,
exactly. Okay, all
all
right, they
right.
ain't look right.
But
Mm.
but because everybody that was above his grade,
He said he didn't care.
Uh,
you know, he well he couldn't ask, he couldn't ask, his questions couldn't go but so far.
No, I'm talking about
wow.
when they interviewed him, though. I mean,
Yeah,
the person that was doing the interview was probably what what you call it? What you did, reporter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they I mean, I it's been so long, and I only got a chance to see that documentary one time
Mm.
because a friend of mine had it, and I'd asked him. I said, "Man, can you make me a copy of it?" And I thought he did, but I can't find it.
And I'm
Mm,
sure someone downloaded it. I saw a documentary myself. I don't know if it's the same one. It's just I remember they were saying, they interviewed a collection of 2,000 um, construction workers, contractors, and architects, and they said that. I mean, if you actually look at the video of the building falling, like it fell down so fast, and to me, and it fell straight down.
yep.
Straight down, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. It
it
was
looked
controlled.
exactly like a controlled demolition,
Yeah, it could have
and
been. It could have been.
yeah, and then of course Building 7 that fell all by itself.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that happened
no
from
one,
the
no one's asking questions. How in the world did Building 7, that was not even involved with any of the crashes, fall down all by itself? There's questions.
Weakness from the earth.
yeah. Well, well, the thing was, okay, Dick Cheney was the vice president at the time.
Yep.
Okay, so he was, well, okay, they shuffled the whoever was at the top of Halliburton. Dick Cheney was fighting to get to those oil wells. He wanted those oil wells that was over there in Iraq.
Right.
Okay, because in Kuwait, Halliburton took over those oil wells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he thought he could go in there and do the same thing with Iraq. Um,
so,
uh huh.
but
So
you're
so
saying that's related to this?
I
Could
I
be.
I
It could
Could
strong
be.
be. It could be.
I don't put anything past Dick Cheney.
Right. Because he
Hmm.
was a crook.
Okay, and he didn't care about life and limb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah. Um. Coincidentally, I don't know if you guys used to watch the X Files, but there was a spinoff show. I forgot what it's called. And it aired 6 months before 9/11 happened, where there was a plane that lost control due to terrorists on the plane, and the terrorists were directing the plane towards the twin towers. And at the last second, they were able to redirect the plane. But I was like, that's a little bit too close to what
Comfort.
uh,
actually happened.
Yep.
okay,
And yeah, I mean, a lot of events kind of happened, especially like that train wreck in Ohio that just happened. What,
Mm-hmm.
right,
earlier this year, March, and they had
Mm-hmm.
a movie called White Noise on Netflix that uh, was that had to do with a train wreck that wrecked very near the actual town, and I'm
uh-huh.
like, um how is it possible that
Right.
whatever happened in real life was because
Come to
it came
intuition. Mm.
it
Right.
came out in a
Eerie.
movie just very very close uh to the actual event, and it happens so often that you're kind of like, nah, it just can't happen like that. it
Well,
Yeah,
they
it,
had a
it
movie
doesn't.
called Runaway Train.
oh
That
yeah,
was called something else because we were talking about it this past weekend, and Denzel Washington was in there,
was in that train. Yeah,
and my daughter was asking me about
that was a true story.
some other guy, and I'm like, no, this was somebody else. But it was just interesting, and of course, he gonna be the
Yeah,
savior. Well, the
yeah,
white guy really saved the train because he
right.
got
He
on
did.
the train
Yeah,
with his broken foot or something wrong with his foot.
right. Exactly.
So
Um,
I don't
now
think
you
I've
want to
seen
hear
that
something?
movie yet,
it's good.
but
It
go
was
ahead.
good.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. That was real good.
Hmm.
If you now here's something. Now this is just me talking. Um, okay, going back to Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was a contractor under the Bin Laden family. Okay, now Osama
It,
was at
go,
odds with his parents and all of that for dealing with the U.S. and so forth.
Hmm.
But I had a customer when I was selling cars who was part of a reconnaissance group, and after 9/11, They tracked him down, and they all had their weapons aimed at him, but they could not fire one shot because they had to call headquarters. Headquarters had to call the White House. White House had to make a decision, let headquarters know yes or no, and then contact them. He said when they got the decision to go ahead, he said he was gone.
Wow.
So, um,
Yeah.
and the funny part was, he said when they were returning to base, he was in one of those Humvees that didn't have that wasn't armor plated, and he lost 30% of the use of the right hand side of his body because the shrapnel that the Humvee caused. And that's when I met him because he was trying to get a vehicle.
Mm.
Wow.
And so he said man, he said I used to believe in, I hate to say this, but I hate to sound political, but he said I was a conservative until this happened. He said I know something's up.
Mm.
He said it took over 2 hours for them to say yes or no.
Wow. It's sad.
Yeah,
And just think of all the men, though, men and women that we lost in combat
and
over in those
in
countries,
those countries, right?
and it
Oh,
wasn't
Yeah.
even worth it. It was
no,
not
it
even
wasn't.
worth it.
No,
Well, I don't know. I just think there's stuff going on that we don't know about. That's all I
right.
Oh
can say.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Stuff that we shouldn't know
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't think that it's a political thing so much as whatever their agenda is.
about. Uh-huh.
I don't think that it's a right wing, left wing thing.
It's
I
the
think
same bird.
it's the same bird. Yes. Uh, you're dealing with the same bird. So
Mhm.
whatever side you choose, it's the same bird.
It's the same bird.
So
Mm.
yeah, like I don't really get into politics and stuff just because to me I don't believe in I don't believe in
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, that
it's
bipartisan stuff. I don't
it's
believe in it.
it's all a stage.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
it's a stage to appease the masses.
Mhm. Mhm. Because people feel like they have to belong. Like they
Right.
have to. If you
They just
belong in a
want to
certain
show that
group,
they just want to speak their big mouth, and they don't have nothing really good to say that's worth anything. They just
Right.
yeah,
want to talk, 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 and get themselves in trouble or get somebody else in trouble, and then the other one follows. I'm like, one thing they said today that was so funny. Um, I hate to say it, but the no man that got the 91 charges against him,
Yeah.
so they following his lead. So if they say Biden broke a glass, even if he didn't break the glass, they're gonna make it seem like he did by
Did yeah.
everybody keep talking about it. I'm
Right.
like,
Exactly.
so this is what we dealing with. The United States of America, the most embarrassing to everybody because this is something that you don't want to get out in the open. I
And
don't care if you're doing it or not. You don't tell us.
right. Exactly. But it goes to show you that humanity hasn't really progressed mentally beyond, like, say, the 1700s or whatever. It the same way you can stir up mess today is the way they stirred up mess back then.
Yeah, over stupid stuff though.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I
well it's
want
worse
like why is
today.
it always older men worrying about the women's body? Older men now. I said old. Why
Uh-huh.
are they worrying about the women's body? What do you think the women going to do for you? I just can't get. It's just mind boggling to me. What is it that you're infatuated with women's bodies?
It, it,
Heard about the attorney general in Alabama talking about you can't go across any state, and if you go to another state to try to have an abortion, you're gonna be in trouble. And the other state says you don't control our state, so you're
right.
not gonna
Exactly.
tell us what we can do and what we can't do in our state.
I don't know. I
Everybody.
think that I think that that issue is was kind of stirred up just to to divide the people too.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
it did. It did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
feel like
did.
it was stirred up just to divide the people. We're going through a lot of division.
Yeah.
Um, like whether it's a race thing
Hmm.
or right wing, left wing thing,
Males and
or
females.
LGBT.
abortion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I
Uh,
feel like a lot of events and laws that get passed these days are done to divide us, so that when something bigger happens, no one can agree and
right.
no one can be united. Like we can't be
Can,
united. What's that saying? A house divided
can
will
that
not
stand?
stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
know they said Abraham Lincoln quoted it first, but he quoted it from the Bible.
right. I was just
Well, okay. So he
who
Yeah,
wasn't
is
the
the
first man that did it. Okay.
yeah.
So
who is
where
the
your niece at? Where's Charity?
I don't know. Give me. Oh, let me see if I can put this some.
Yep, because it's almost 15 minutes.
Yeah, maybe she can't get on. I don't know. Let me see if
Is
I can.
she in the same building as you?
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Oh yeah,
call.
just have her join you.
Yep.
Just, just have her join you.
Yep. That's all she got to do.
Yeah, well, we're already 47 minutes in,
Yep.
so
She'll be the last to say something if we can get
yeah.
her.
But it is live on Facebook. I'm
Siri.
checking right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, were you able to get on?
Yeah,
Chuck, she can come in under you though. She doesn't
yeah.
have to try to get in. She's here.
I mean, she could just sit with you.
Oh, are you on Zoom or are you on?
No, she got to be Google Meet.
StreamYard.
StreamYard. That's right. StreamYard.
Oh, okay, Google Meets. It's not on Google Meets this time. It's on
No,
StreamYard.
just StreamYard. I sent her the
They
Join.
sent
email.
they sent you the link.
Tell her just come on to your computer since it's getting late.
It's under K. You should have gotten an email from K.
She told me she was in there earlier. I don't know what they were doing.
You just got
Yeah.
one from K.
Just tell her to come onto yours, Chuck.
Okay, why don't you come on? Why don't you come on? Why don't you come on in here? Because they're waiting on you. Oh, oh, okay. All right. I'll email you what Kay sent me. All right. Okay. All right. Bye now. All right. So she went to the store. She said she had to pick up something from the store. So she's going to join us on the phone as soon as I send her the email with the link.
She okay?
Okay.
I guess I you know,
Yeah. Young people.
yeah, millennials.
They got their own agenda.
Yep. So okay. So let me forward this to Charity Nichols. All right. Okay, I just sent it to her.
Okay.
Well, thank goodness there's options with all this new technology.
You ready for
Yeah.
that? Yep.
Because if it was the old days,
Oh, that's manual intervention.
yeah.
But even with technology as good as it is right now, it makes people. I feel like it's making people more stupid. Like,
Oh, it is.
yeah, like people are so engrossed in their phones that they're not paying attention what's going around them. Um, like for me, I when I was younger, I used to memorize people's phone
Phone
numbers,
numbers. Yep.
and I don't anymore because I don't need to. As long as my phone works,
Mm-hmm.
then I can just dial people without having to remember their phone number.
As long as you remember.
And
Except when the phone dies. Oh,
yeah,
shit,
well, except
Uh,
my
when your
phone.
phone dies,
yeah.
then you're in trouble. So I keep telling myself, write a list of important phone numbers and put it
Yep.
somewhere important,
Yep.
somewhere you can have access to. And I haven't done it yet. So I'm like, I'm putting myself in trouble if I'm ever in a hard spot. And people don't do that anymore, and I'm just like, oh wow, and I'm
Yep.
part of it too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when
Yeah,
computer crashes. You got
Mm-hmm.
all the passwords and the sign ons. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's in the computer. Oh shoot, I can't get to it.
Don't remind me because I'm in a situation now where I part of my passwords are gone and I don't know, and then they talk about okay, well, you want to change your password, put in the old password. I'm like, I don't have the old password.
I know.
I know, especially if you haven't used it in years, because you've
Uh-huh.
had the same password for years, and something happened. I'm like, oh Lord, where did I put it at?
Yeah.
It's not the fact you don't have it; it's like, where did I put it
Where did
at?
I put it? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm like, oh man. There's
She
one app.
said she's still waiting to get in. It keeps saying
Oh,
someone
No,
has.
she's in. She's
oh no,
in.
she's in
Okay.
now.
Hey,
Hi,
Okay.
Charity.
Charity.
Hi, everyone.
I am so glad that you were able to join us. So we're going to have you be the end of our program, and you'll be able to share your information of what you do, what company you work for, and how you got started. How about that?
Okay. Do I start now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I work in construction for a general contractor, and I work kind of behind the scenes in the office work, doing cost estimating. So I help them estimate the cost of how much it would be to build a building or whatever the construction project is, and I help them to bid. And if we win, if we're the lowest bidder, then our company will go ahead and begin constructing the project. So the company I work for is called FH Passion, and I just started working for this company in January. But I graduated from college in 2019, and I've been doing cost estimating since then. But at first, I was working for a different company. So
So I gather you like it.
yeah, yeah,
That's great. So
just
what
been
made
trying to
you
be
get
good
into
at
it
it.
though? What made you get into cost estimation?
Um, it was what made me get into it? Well, I got into it through going to school for construction management. I didn't know exactly that I would be doing cost estimating, or that wasn't my goal. Like in the beginning, I just started as a student in construction management, and then I didn't know what cost estimation was. Well, I didn't know that was a job, like a career choice, until like what year? My senior year is when I took the cost estimating class. And the reason I wanted to be a cost estimator is because that's the only class that I didn't get an A in, an A or a B. So I got a C in it, and I wasn't satisfied with that. So I wanted to perfect it. I'm still perfecting it, or still working towards mastering it.
So you said that you get when the company puts bids in, you provide or you get the cost estimate for the job, and whoever wins the lowest bid wins.
Yeah. So whoever can do whatever construction company can do the job for the lowest amount, basically, is who usually gets the job, gets the work. So I will help come up with our amount. We call a bid. Um and I do that by first quantifying all the materials that go into the project, into the construction, and then I have to put a cost to each item. Or we reach out to subcontractors because we don't self-perform any work, so we usually reach out to subcontractors,
Mhm.
and they will individually give their cost for their individual specialties, and then we'll combine it into one bid, and hopefully we're the lowest person.
Okay.
Now, how do you prevent from, I guess, having that low bid eat into your profits?
Can you repeat that?
How do you prevent, or like, how do you expect to make money with a low bid? How do you expect to still make profit?
So as a company, we have to add our own like markup costs to on top
Mm-hmm.
of what on top of what the all the subs charge, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's how the company will pay its employees.
Okay. So, what can you name some buildings that y'all have put up? Is it only in DC or is it all over? I mean, what places or areas that y'all concentrate in?
So our headquarters, our first office that they ever had was in Chicago, and they're really big in Chicago. That's like one of
Okay.
the top companies out there. If you go out there, they're doing the Chicago O'Hare Airport. They've done a couple projects there, but right now they're adding some more terminals.
Okay.
Or I don't know if it's terminals, but it's where the air airplanes will land.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are these just government contracts that you're going for, or are the um
It's
private
probably
contracts too?
Mostly public. Yeah, mostly the government and public projects. I don't think we do too many private projects. Yeah, a lot of the projects we do are for like the school different school districts.
did y'all come into Virginia? Because we got all these big buildings
Mm,
and oh my God.
yeah, so our office is called the DC office, but it's actually located in Virginia,
Oh, where?
McLean.
Oh yeah, McLean. Okay, that's a rich area too. That's an expensive
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Now,
good
would
to know.
would your company ever consider doing private contracts? I would imagine that you would probably make more money, or maybe not. I don't know. Depending on how big the project is.
Yeah, it depends, but there have been times where like smaller private companies will reach out to us for like a quick build that they need, a quick construction project that they need, and sometimes we'll consider working with them, but um, and it's easier that way if they come directly to us because there's no competition. Like if they just come to us and tell us that they want us to do the work, then we have done that before. But most of our work is the larger projects that you have to bid on.
Do you do like any homes? Any home builds?
No, they don't do residential at all. So it's just
Okay.
mainly commercial. They've been trying to get into well, we do commercial buildings and infrastructure like roads, civil work,
Do you do like condominiums or anything like that?
not residential.
Okay.
Now, let me ask, because these are
Can you guys
commercials.
still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you. Are these just new builds, or do you do reconstruction as well?
Hello?
We can hear you. Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh,
Can,
is she?
can you repeat that? We didn't hear you.
Charity?
Hello?
Hello, we can see you.
Hello?
We can see you.
Cannot hear.
Her volume is. Can you hear us?
Mhm.
Siri?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 Oh, I can't hear you guys anymore. I don't know what happened.
Can you
Oh,
hear us now? Can you hear us now?
Can I try leaving and coming back?
Yeah, you can do
yeah.
that.
It's interesting what she does.
Yeah, it is. Because she'll see a project, from beginning
Why
to
is it
end.
not working?
Okay.
Because I know sometimes, cost overruns and stuff like that may come into play. So I'm sure she probably has to make some, revisions,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
meet budget, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know. Well, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know who was responsible for the cost estimating. So that's good to know.
Uh-huh.
But when she's dealing with private industry, it's going to be because I'm telling you, in Virginia, we are overran. Every building that's new that they're building is humongous. It's nothing
Oh, yeah.
small here in Virginia. It's everything is like extremely large. And I mean square footage is like you gotta walk forever to get to the other side of the room. I'm like, God, they want to get your exercise in. Can you hear us? Charity?
Yes.
Okay, good. We missed what you were saying. It was interesting. I forgot what you were saying.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Re-
remember what was she saying.
I forgot. She was talking about
No,
oh the,
I remember. I
the
asked if
yeah.
I Charity. I'm asking. I think I remember you talking about just new builds. Do you also do reconstruction?
Mhm.
So I
I
can
don't
hear
think she
now,
can
but it's
hear.
like breaking. The sound is like
Do you
cracking
also?
up.
She might be
Okay.
in a bad
Do you
area.
also do? I know, huh? Do you also do reconstruction?
Reconstruction?
Yes.
Yeah. Instead of
Oh,
new builds, do you also do
yeah.
reconstruction?
Yes, we do renovations and new builds. Yes, new constructions and renovations.
It is the cost the same when you have to reconstruct, or is it less?
Uh, the sound's still messing up. I don't know why. It's like breaking up. So I hear bits and pieces of it.
I can repeat. Is the cost to reconstruct, is it the same, or is it less or more?
For like renovations, it's usually less than like
Okay.
a new build, but it also depends on the size of the project.
So one thing that Chuck was saying is that you may have to go back into revise, I guess revising the estimate due to what kind of issue would you have to come across?
cost overruns or something like that.
Can you hear us, Chad?
It's still breaking everyone's voices up. I don't know why. Ugh.
Yeah, I think she might be in a bad area.
Yeah, I think she's in a bad area. Well, let's just wrap it up because we can always get her. This was really good. I really glad that you came on anyway.
Maybe we can talk to her next week.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
Talk more
yeah,
about it. Yeah. It was very interesting.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Do you guys do this every Wednesday? Is today
Yes.
Wednesday?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And we want to invite you again if you can next week so we can finish up because we didn't get a chance to ask additional questions. But this was very interesting to all of us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you,
Well,
Charity.
thank
Thank
you very much for joining our talk today, Charity. Uh,
No problem.
we'll just see everyone next week, same time, Wednesday at
Yep.
7.
All right.
Okay.
Same time, same
Thank you
station.
very much.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.